How's it going, everybody? The hottest topic in Marvel Strike Force right now has got to be Purple ISO 8, this event store, Dark Dimension 8, Odin, and everything we know about that, don't know about that, how to properly prepare for it, and what to expect from the future. And that's what we're going to get into in this video. So first things first, Dark Dimension 8 and Odin is going to require you to have Purple ISO 8 level 3 on a team of city villains, city heroes, global villains, and cosmic or legendary characters. The main focus of this video is really going into each of those sections, isolating the best characters that are currently in game, and then talking about why I would do them. And at the end, break it all down to brawlers, blasters, supports, protectors, all that kind of stuff to make sure we're not overdoing one section. Because there's a couple things we don't know, like how we're going to be getting ISO 8 crystals in the long run. We know the store is actually really good right now in game. You can go check it out. We can target farm, kind of. It's up for a long time. We're going to get a lot of those resources. We can kind of do that, right? But in the long term, we don't know. So we want to be somewhat balanced. Other things that we do know you don't need gear tier 19 on these characters. You don't need anything besides level 85 and a can-do attitude. But I would also say there's about 80% stats hidden between levels 90 to 100 with the addition of the gear tier 18 and gear tier 19. So I wouldn't expect a gear tier 16 purple ISO character to have much success in the mode, but I also wouldn't suspect somebody who's looking at entering that mode with the purple ISO to only have their characters level 85. It would just be a really silly thing to do. So we know that. Other things that we don't know what's going on with the next raid tier, because there is a precedent for when they release a Dark Dimension or Saga style character like they did Apocalypse, who required ISO 4, ISO 5, to also release the next raid tier. We are definitely overdue for a raid tier. When Apocalypse came, I believe it was Doom 2. It might have been Doom 3 at the time, but it required ISO 4 to do the highest difficulties. They've since nerfed it down to only need blue ISO 2. At the time, it was blue ISO 4. So there is a precedent for them to require ISO 8 for the raids. In this video, I'm assuming that's not the case, but I'm going to leave room for it to be the case, and I'm going to talk about why in each section, what I would change, as it were. But I'm talking your ear off already. Let's get into the video. Hope you enjoy it. If you do, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Every little bit helps. But stop wasting time, dorky. Let's go do it. All right, let's start off with the biggest red flag section. City villains. So as far as city villains go, like I just pulled off the people that are the best in the section. Non-legendary, of course, right? And I just didn't include like the minions or like the really bad characters like Elektra and stuff like that. This section raises a lot of red flags. Let's just put this in the list first, and we'll go from there. Carnage, I would say, is B tier. Electro, I would say C tier for this. Kingpin would be C tier for this. Kraven would be A tier. Really, really like that Superior 6 team. Morbius would be D tier. Actually, let's be honest. Like, this is D tier too. Kingpin, I guess, could be C tier. Mr. Negative would be C tier. Mysterio would be C tier. Nobu would be C tier. Lizard would be B tier. Red Goblin, I could see as A. Shocker would be C. Rhino would be D. Swarm would be D. Slayer would be another A. Venom, I could see being a C tier. Green Goblin, Ultimate, D. And then Vulture, I can see Vulture being another strong A. Now let's organize this from best to worst, left to right. I would say Kraven, then Vulture, then Slayer, finally Red Goblin. I would go Lizard before Carnage in this sense. You'll notice this tag, really, really no heavy hitters. Nobody that's like, oh, that's the guy, right? I expect that we're going to see some sort of vampire team. Morbius not going to make that team because he lost against the Moon Knight. But there'll be some sort of city villain team. There has to be around the corner, because otherwise this is just too rough. Now, the people that are racing through Dark Dimension 8, they'll probably bring this Superior 6 Hive Mind monstrosity, but the rest of us will be waiting until we see a new city villain team, because this is just gross, right? If I wanted to mix this up, I'd put Mr. Negative would be first, then it'd be Kingpin, then it'd be Venom, Mysterio, Shocker, Nobu. That sounds about right. And this guy, I don't even want to do D tier. D tier makes no sense. Anyway, that's going to be it. Let's move on to City Hero, which is at least a more fun conversation. Just, I would... City villain characters, like what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get our list of characters, separate them into the different ISO categories, and then like disqualify the villain characters until we see some sort of, at least like a few plug and play city villain characters got to be coming around the corner. I have to imagine that when I look at the potential here. All right, so the City Hero section is a lot easier because, well, the raid team's a lot more fun, right? The Spider Society team. The characters here definitely hold a lot more value, and we also know for sure that Moon Knight's getting a rework. He did win the poll. I have no idea where he's going to go. I'm just going to throw him in the middle for now. If he's part of the Mystic Raid team, he will probably be a lot higher. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's start with Cloak here. Cloak, I'll put him as D tier. As far as the other characters on this list go, he's definitely D tier. Firestar, I can actually see Firestar being really good with that extra damage from Striker. It would really elevate that New Warrior team in Crucible, who are mega struggling. The same would go for Robbie Reyes. He would also be probably an A tier in my books. The Secret Defenders have definitely not fallen off yet. Ghost Spider, really good raids, and once again, if the raids require purple ISO, then raid characters pretty much all get bumped up a lot, right? They would all get bumped up a lot. For now, though, I'll throw her in C tier just because if they're not required for raids, she'd be the weakest link on the team that I would probably do ISO on last. But still a good character. Same thing for Gwenum. Once again, if these characters are actually needed for raids, they'd probably get bumped up like all the way. Gwenpool, she'll go D tier. Like, Gwenpool, I mean, if you make her a skirmisher and it helps her peel off Black Knight, there's a lot of good value there. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it for this. Hardlight, people hate it when I disrespect Hardlight. I'm just going to disrespect her some more, though, in your face. I'm not a huge fan of her. She does her job, and she doesn't need to be super built up for that. Penny would be S tier. Penny Striker doing that extra damage is crazy. Peter B as a healer now, clearing vulnerables would be over the top since he does it already. But now having him as a skirmisher, that extra focus, stripping off extra buffs, doing all kinds of crazy shit like that. Really like Peter. 2099. Look, I thought 2099 and Weaver were going to stand the test of time as plug-and plays far longer than they did. They just didn't cut it. So he's going to be down here. And yeah, I'd put him last. Rodent, War Use, not really seeing the love for him. He'd actually be at the very, very bottom of this list for me. Spider-Man Big Time. Skirmisher Spider-Man Big Time against Black Knight. That's hot. I'm going to put him B tier, but the top of B tier. I would really, really like the idea of this character. Then we have Pav, the extra damage. Dude, the damage Pav does already, insane. Same with Noir. Like, no, don't be surprised, guys. The Spider Society, 4-piece Spider Society with Robbie Reyes, probably the way to go. The only reason this would change is, again, is if purple ISO is needed for the next raid tier, in which case, like, these two are coming up. I actually kind of assume this is going to be a raid team because very heavily Mystic implications there. So I assume he would go up as well. But that's it for City Hero. The biggest problem is we're getting a lot of the same sort of classes. We got two blasters here, brawler, support protector. We're going to see a lot of that going forward. So we definitely got to be careful not to overstack ISO traits. Alrighty, moving on to the global villain section. I thought this list was going to be a lot larger than this, but it's not quite. So again, I filtered out a lot of minions. I filtered out characters like Killmonger, Lady Deathstrike, Deathseed members. I even filtered out Ultron, who I guess you can argue could make this list. Some people I filtered out. It just didn't make sense. I don't even want to talk about him in the context of this list. Take too much time, right? But let's get this started. So Absorbing Man, obviously D tier. I love Sticky. Okay, we just need to include him. Apocalypse is an obvious S tier for this. Very, very obvious. Dakin, I'm going to throw it A. Doom, I like Doom as a character. There is the issue when you build him too big that it could cause problems, right? I'm actually going to put him, and this is going to be controversial, C tier. For me, Emma's going to be D tier. Namor is going to be an S tier. Having him as a raider, getting those extra damage would be great, but having him as a striker, getting all that extra guaranteed damage, Namor smashes. The exact same thing I'm going to say about Iron Patriot. Though Iron Patriot's going to be tough, right? Because in War and Crucible, I love him as a striker. But in other modes, like the Old Man Logan, like Dark Dimensions, Skirmisher is way better. And Skirmisher seems comparable to Striker. But it depends on how much it costs to switch specs. We might have to go Namor Raider with Iron Patriot Striker, since they're kind of forcing us to lock it in for Dark Dimension 8, and I'm assuming the ions are not going to be freely available to switch around. I'll probably end up having to hard commit to Namor Raider and Iron Patriot Striker. Leader is not going to be an issue. Leader is definitely just a Striker through and through. Awesome. Moonstone, Master of Evil falling off. I see a world where it's just going to be Titania and Kang, or just Kang with Cabal very, very soon. Speaking of Masters of Evil, we got Titania. I'll throw her D tier as well. But we'll throw them at the top of D tier. Sorry, Sticky. Then we got Ares. Ares is tough. Haven't had enough in-game play with Ares yet. I assume that when he's 7 red, 7 yellow, he's going to be smashing kids. He's going to be really, really good at stopping on-spawn safeguard, right? That's a very interesting thing to do. But his innate slow speed outside of war concerns me, with him potentially not being the best plug-and-play Crucible character, which is what I care about way more than his use in war. So if I'm going to go super big on him, I want to be good in Crucible. So I guess the argument is, between him and Dakin, who's going to give you more plug-and-play value in Crucible, but also in war? And I got to say, Old Man Logan is carrying that Mercs for Money torch. So I think Ares probably edges out Dakin as far as this goes. Then we got Zuggernaut. Zuggernaut, great character, great fun war character, pretty good pre-taunt. But we've had so many better pre-taunts. We had the Black Knight, we have Sasquatch, and now we also have Gladiator coming to the game. So this ain't close. He'll be C-tiered above Dr. Doom. And Zombie Iron Man, same thing, C tier as well, above Dr. Doom. The thing about the global villain section, at least, is I'm not seeing any raid characters whatsoever. So this is just like you choose your favorite war characters or your favorite Crucible characters. You go from there. For me, the Cabal team is just can't be beat in Crucible. They're so fun. Useful for Old Man Logan, helping him get bigger. I was going to call him Old Man Legend. And then also they're pretty damn good in war. And when we put them with Kang, with Ares, there's some more things they could take out, nothing crazy, but there's still some good warriors there too. All right, let's move on to the global hero section. All right, the global hero section. This is a fun section. There's lots of amazing characters. Well, I guess it's both fun and not fun, right? Because like, hey, can't we just change some of these guys to city villain real quick? Alas, no. All right, Black Knight. This is a tough one. My biggest problem with committing to Black Knight as S tier is basically like, how often are you switching between like Fortifier and Striker? I'm gonna put him at A tier, and you're gonna see why in a little bit, okay? Captain America, great character, good war character, decent Crucible character, needed for Old Man Logan, but not enough to warrant anything special. Put him in C tier. Same with Peggy. Darkhawk, D tier. Let's get this out of the way. Ironheart, Iron Man, Rescue, all D tier. This immediately goes out the window the second they say, by the way, there's a new raid, Purple ISO is required, and Tech is the first section. If that happens, begrudgingly, maybe we end up bringing these guys. I know they're going to be getting replaced next raid tier. Same with the Mystic team. And that'll bring us to the Extreme, right? Nightcrawler, for me, that's an easy S tier. He's an amazing raider. We're going to use him everywhere. He's a brawler, so we deal with that. Gambit, I'm going to throw him at A. Forge, his ult, removing vulnerables, is actually so crazy. I think I'd put him at the top of A tier if we make him a healer and we get that purple ice on him. I think that's amazing. Sunspot as a striker, I would actually put him at B tier, and I didn't include Cyclops on this list because even in the scenario where we have to bring in ISO characters for the next raid tier, Old Man Logan replaces Cyclops without a question. We see that on the first node of the mutant section without a question. Old Man Logan, it doesn't matter if they have revives on everybody, he's the guy to bring in. Forge, Gambit, and Sunspot, if we need to have purple ISO, they all become S tier, and I take them above everybody else because I think the raid tier is going to be Tech and Mystic at the very end, undoable, right? I think Mutant, again, will be in the dead center, and they're going to be like what Death Seed was, where they can get through the nodes very, very dangerously, right? That's where I kind of see them going, but they would be on this list. Above some of these other characters that we're going to talk about that I think are way more fun, that I'm going to be ranking higher, under the assumption that Purple ISO's not needed for the next raid tier, but I kind of think it's going to be. I just don't know. Deadpool, let's start with the war characters. I'll put Deadpool at C. above the Pegasus team, but definitely last priority. Guardian, I love my Guardian, but he is a standing passive, giving that offense up, so I'll put him at C tier. Hot take, North Star is a good plug-and-play character. He's fast, he does damage, he flips buffs. I would love him. The bigger, the better. So I'll put him at B tier. I'm actually going to put him over Sunspot in this case. Once again, if raids require purple ice, so you can throw him down at the bottom and it's extreme all the way. Pandapool. Look, he dies, he comes back. That's his gimmick. All right? He's unlike real-life pandas who are in trouble. Quicksilver. Quicksilver is a stat-based character, and with the hard reset of stats coming to the game, Quicksilver's in trouble. Every single new character that comes out greatly diminishes Quicksilver's use. He'll be a decent plug-and-play like assist character going forward. Saskatoon! F tier. Fuck off. Canada's a horrible place. Alright, Spider Weaver. Extra damage on Weaver is awesome. Permakills are great. I don't think I can put her in the same tier as these guys up here, even though I use her on offense in Crucible as opposed to defense in Crucible. And for that reason, she gets thrown at the top of B tier, I think. Sunfire, look, Spotlight, or whatever, the raid MVP, doesn't need the extra, though. So he goes C tier here. Tigra, and all of the new Avengers. Just stop it. You're kidding yourself. Let's fix this, though. They would at least be before Pegasus. Wolverine, again, like, interesting Spotlight team, but alas, being that it's a flop of a war defensive team, and it's really just the Sunspot show, and once you get extra stars on Guardian North Star, they're going to do all the lifting anyway. Wolverine's down here. And then we get Illuminati. More like Illuminati, this team is freaking crazy. They would all be S tier. And if we were to rank this properly, if you're a spender, it goes like this, right? It would go Hank, Shuri, Jesus. It would go Captain Britain, Hank, Shuri, then Nightcrawler. Free to play, it's going to be like this, and you will just take him off the list. Can I do that? Can I take him off the list? No, he's stuck on the list now. Well, if you're free to play, you just wouldn't have him, right? So he'd be at the bottom. But otherwise, he would definitely be up there. Once again, though, let's be very clear about this. If raids require ISO, I think Mutant is still going to be doable, but a freaking nightmare. So we would be having to put ISO Purple on our Extreme team, at least in the early days. But that's it. Let's head on over to the last section. Then we're going to conglomerate it all together. Talk about BIOS, protectors, all that kind of stuff. All right, so the final section, the Legendary Cosmic section. Again, we have our group of characters, and I just didn't include the ones that just have no chance of making it. I did include all the Legendaries, even though lots of them have no chance of making it. So let's cycle them out first. So Adam Warlock, not going to happen. Archangel, no thanks. Where's another Legendary? It's not going to happen. Nova, not going to happen. Omega Red, not going to happen. Red Hulk, not going to happen. Rogue, not going to happen. Well, I'll put this guy a little bit higher, just for his use with Apocalypse. Is very interesting. Other absolute garbage legendary characters. Jubilee, not going to happen. Phoenix, not going to happen. Dr. Ock, no. Shuri, no. Invisible Woman, no. Magneto, no. And definitely not Fury. If I actually wanted to rank this from left to right, I guess Nova would be the most likely, followed by Rogue, followed by probably Omega Red, and the rest is just, well, I guess Doc Ock. Yeah, probably. Well, you know what? When he ults, he would clear vulnerables. If you have him as a healer, that actually is pretty interesting. Okay, I'd put him over Omega Red. And the rest is just like straight up no from Archangel down, right? Straight up no. Oh, I guess Ebony Maw can join that list. Star-Lord could join that list. Just absolutely not. All right. Then we get to the more interesting characters. Okay, so Black Bolt on the Illuminati team. We need for the next legendary character. He is going to be a blaster, which is kind of nice. He's definitely not S, not A. B, I don't think so either. I think I would include him in the C tier. Black Cat would get a little bit more love from me, but she's a brawler. That's going to make it tough. I'm going to put her in B, though. Cosmic Ghost Rider, he's kind of like an unsung hero. I'd put him B as well. Dormammu, he would be a D tier for me. Not even close. Gladiator. Gladiator for me would probably be B tier as well, though I would rank him higher just for his use in the arena. And having that fortifier would be very, very interesting. Gore for me is S tier. We haven't got to share footage of Gore yet, but he's amazing. His kit is crazy. He is bonkers fun. Fast character with 129 speed. I just like him all around, so he's going to be S tier for me. Goblin is an easy A for me. I love these Superior 6 everywhere. We've used them in every single Dark Dimension so far. Not the best in there, but the use outside is bonkers. Hela for me is another D tier. I'd actually put her probably below some of these legendary characters. Probably above Omega Red, but below the rest. You know, if we're going to do that, let's do Dorm as well. He'd probably just be maybe ahead of Hela in that case. Iron Man. If you have Captain Britain, he's D tier. If you don't have Captain Britain, I actually do kind of like him on the C tier, the lower end of it, because of his use in the upcoming Legendary event, as well as the team in Crucible. The team is so good in Crucible. Kang. Kang is an easy A tier for me as well. Mephisto, obvious S tier. Morgan Le Fay, I'm going to throw her D tier. I guess I could have put her there ahead of time, but I had to think about her a little bit. I would put her ahead of Dr. Octopus. Old Man Logan, easy S tier. Silver Surfer, Annihilators, but probably sitting on the bench. I'm going to throw him C tier. He's got the new stats, so you want to take him into some sort of consideration. Void Knight, it's not going to happen, buddy. Sorry. Your time has come. I'd probably put you just below Rogue. Skrull, easy S tier. Endgame Thanos, easy S tier. Ultimus, so fun, so strong. Having him Purple Raider, getting those extra crits would be very, very valuable. Vala being a Scopely original, I'm always waiting for that rework to eventually come. But until it does, she's a D tier. I don't care how good she is in Dark Dimension. I wouldn't waste ISO on her just to not struggle as much. And I gotta say, like, do you really think you would struggle if you brought in this lineup of 5? I don't think so. Mr. Fantastic, honestly, way better than Black Bolt and Iron Man on the team. I'm gonna put him B tier. Kestrel, plug and play, stat based, so she'll be struggling a little bit soon. I'll put her at the top of C tier. Icarus is gonna struggle a lot with the new stats coming out. I would put him at the middle of C tier. He would be over Red Hulk. Cersei would not get the go-ahead for me, and this is where people are going to lose some people. Listen. Yes. Vol. Eternals. Amazing Dark Dimension characters. Have literal Dark Dimension tags in their kit. Don't build for fucking Dark Dimension, okay? It doesn't matter if you beat it in 1 day or 5 days. Even though this is the last section, I guess it would kind of matter a little bit more. Your end value, the end value to your account is so much better just to build the best characters outside of it. And once again, with this lineup, right, just honestly, with Mephisto, Old Man Logan, and Skrull, how insane could they make the nose that this team would struggle? I guess we'll find out. Deathpool for me should be D tier as well. Some use in War, some use in Crucible. I think I would put her probably above Void Knight, but below Rogue. Photon, I love the Secret Defender team. Her being a striker would be cool. The damage she puts out would still be great. I think I would put her above Deathpool, but below Rogue in this case. And that'll be it. Those are the only characters I think that even warrant some sort of conversation. So that's going to be our Legendary Cosmic Stage section, if you will. Let's go actually break down all these now based on their actual ISO traits. And then we'll talk if we are in balance or out of balance. All right, so what you're looking at here is the final product of what we've done. So this is all 5 sections, the 25 best characters separated into different, the different ISO classes. So not S through F. It's Blaster, Brawler, Controller, Protector, Support. I made the necessary cuts of the characters that really stood out to me. We can have a brief conversation here, but I'm going to talk to you about what I would actually do with this information, what I'm going to do with it. That is applicable to stuff in-game right now, and my planning going forward for Dark Dimension 8. So, I have the 5 characters for each section. I have my city heroes, my city villains, unfortunately, my global heroes, my global villains, and the way I have this ordered is the characters in which I would do first. So, like, the first blaster I'm going to equip is going to be Noir. The first brawler I'm going to equip is going to be Skrull, and you see where I'm going with this, right? In practice, there's only 4 characters that I'm going to equip anything with. And that's, of course, Skrull, Logan, Mephisto, and Apocalypse. You can go all the way up to ISO 3 with these guys and have 0 regrets. I can't believe anything's going to come to the game that'll make me regret bringing those 4 characters to ISO 3 in preparation. They're not raid characters with the exception of Old Man Logan, but they're used in so many other places. And they're definitely kind of the best of the best for the given sections. It just makes sense. So what do you do with that information? Well, right now there is the event running where we have this store. What I'm personally doing is I'm starting with Old Man Logan and Skrull. I don't have Mephisto on this account, so it's kind of a non-factor for me. If you have Mephisto, I think you would do him first. I'm going to buy up to 9 of all the different ISO crystals for Controller, for Brawler, because I don't have Mephisto, right? I'm starting with those 2. I'm then going to get the payout, whatever that happens, and I'm going to equip those 2 characters all the way up to ISO level 3. Maybe I'll stop at 2, but probably level 3. I'm not buying these ions. I'm just not. I think the crystals are going to be kind of the thing to do for free to play, because eventually this store is going to be gone and you're going to be at the mercy of RNG drops. However, we're going to get a lot of these treats. The store runs for 45 days, so I'm under no illusion that, you know, I'm only going to get 2 characters. I will probably get enough to do those 4 characters and then excess. So what I'm going to do from there is I want to look at this list, or whatever your list might be, that is of this topic. And I want to see which sections am I super heavy in, right? What sections am I super duper heavy in? So for me right now, I'm heavy with Protector and I'm heavy with Brawler. So after I get those 4 characters done, I'll probably farm a little bit of Blaster, probably up to like 9. Same with the other 4 sections that I've already used. I'll farm them back up to 9. And then I'll look like, okay, I'm super heavy on Brawler, I'm super heavy on Protector. Now that I am in control of which crystals I can buy, I will focus those crystals. With that said, we still have to keep our mind on the idea that raid teams might need purple ISO for the next raid tier. I have no idea what's going on with the next raid tier. This is not me trying to secretly wink, wink, nod, nod. I have no idea about any requirements for the next raid tier whatsoever. I just know that historically they have needed, or they had made us be required to, that's a lot of words. They've required us to have ISO level on our characters, and yes, they did require ISO 4 on our raid characters at the same time they put out Apocalypse. So there is a precedent for them making you do your raid characters at the same time they release a Dark Dimension-esque character that also requires ISO. There is a precedent for that, right? So I'm going to do my 4 characters. I'm going to farm pretty evenly, but I'm probably still going to put a little bit more love into the Brawler section because that is such a popular tag for the strongest characters they put in the game. But I'm probably not going to put too much effort into the Protector tag. I think like 5 Protectors is probably going to be around the same amount. I envision a world where we get a different City Mystic team that's going to be the new Mystic Raid team. And I could see them having a Blaster, having a Controller, having a Support. And then it's going to kind of even things out. So my immediate plan in preparation for Dark Dimension 8, I'm going to do those 4 characters all the way up to ISO level 3. I'm then going to farm 9 of each and every single trait of all 5 crystals. And then I'm just going to kind of evenly farm it out, leaning a little bit heavier into Brawler. I'm going to leave this video here because there's a lot of what ifs with this, right? Like, what if the raid? What if we get more events for this store that we can farm harder on? What if the new City Mystic team or the new Mystic Raid team is going to be City villains? Like, there's so many we don't know, so you can't really iron something down and just nail it down, except for the fact that those 4 characters, get them done and start farming evenly. Because once this store is done, I got to imagine we're back to the RNG nonsense of things like raid orbs that give purple ISO or events that give orbs, stuff like that. I think it's going to boil down to that, and I hope that this helps you get prepared for that. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. But without further ado, talk to you later. Bye-bye. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.